Ladies and gentlemen, here we are again. My name is The Patch. With me casting here is Elthazar, and we'll be bringing to you the quarterfinal match in the EGL Summoners Cup number 12 between Team Autistklassen and HerLevelWas18. We are in the team lobby, and we should get into Champ Select fairly soon, hopefully. There we go. Champ Select is on. Phew, what a hurry.
Bans coming out off the bat. We see a Nidalee ban, which is something I don't think I've ever seen ever. However, we also see a Casten ban, who is very meta as one of those AP assassins. Very good at roaming. Nidalee also very good at roaming, can jump over walls with the pounce ability in her cat form. Also Fizz and Jinx. Fizz, once again, one of those AP assassins. Very, very difficult to deal with, very tricky character. And Jinx, banned out for her incredibly strong utility despite lack of escape.
That is very true. She does have the Flame Chompers and the Zap Slow, though, so she can get away if she wants to, but not from very strong gap closers. So we do see a couple of mid-lane focused bans coming out here of Autistklassen with the team name Trust. Team Tag, I mean. And Zac and Jarvan going to be the last bans coming out of both of these teams here. Now, looking at HerLevelWas18's bans, they are not what you usually see. So may they actually be going for a plan here? And if yes, what do these bans suggest?
I would say there'd be more themed bans if there were a specific strategy they were going for, unless those three champions very, very specifically counter their strategy. If there is, then I'm slightly at a loss as to what it is. However, I'm not going to say that Zac and Jinx aren't fairly common bans, because they are still. Zac is very good, very, very tanky, has great CC with Let's Bounce and the Elastic Slingshot, and has to have one of the best voice sets of any champion in the game. Jinx is also likewise.
That is very true. We do see Orianna as a first pickup here for Team Autistklassen. It's probably going to sort out their middle lane here. And it's Orianna, very, very potent teamfight champion, and that seems to be complemented here by the Varus and Thresh pickups, who can be also very damage-heavy teamfight champions, and the box shockwave combo possibly going to be very, very strong here in the game.
Yes, we have also seen the first two picks come out from HerLevelWas18. We have a Syndra and a Shyvana, so that's going to most likely be the mid and jungle pickups. Syndra, not necessarily seen too much in competitive play, but if one can play her well, she can absolutely decimate the opposing side. Shyvana, also very good utility across the board, especially when she is in her dragon form, as all her abilities gain bonus effects. Bite cleaves all target in a cone in front of her. Same effect applies for her Flame Breath, and her Burnout also leaves a flamey trail behind her, dealing damage even if she is no longer nearby.
Very, very true. So it is not a Thresh pickup here, actually, but a Crescendo, but that also very much complements the Shockwave pick here for Autistklassen, as we do see HerLevelWas18 hovering over Nami and Caitlyn. Now getting switched over to Ezreal, so that's going to be the bottom lane sorted out for them, so we only need to look out for a top lane pick here. Unless it is a Shyvana top lane, but we do not see that really in competitive and amateur play. It's possible, though.
Yes, it's very possible, but we see the jungle and top lane pickups coming out from Autistklassen. We have a Sejuani and a Renekton being hovered over. Sejuani definitely good combo with the Orianna if you use the Command Protect, following up a Glacial Prison Arctic Assault, then that can definitely be a multi-person shockwave without much difficulty. I was going to say that since Smokebomb moved away from the Thresh, they were definitely going to need another melee engagement champion if they wanted that ball delivery system, and that Sejuani definitely provides that. Lacking Sejuani, we do have fairly decent melee engagement potential from Ape Wilson, currently sat on the Renekton, which does look like it's going to be locked in. Very tanky and very high damage across the board. We now have Headliner waiting to pick up his champion.
Yes, we're going to see what that's going to be. He's hovering over Garen here, a very tanky top laner, of course. It's just pretty much just what they need. They also have a very tanky champion in the form of Shyvana, but having a high-tier, very, very tanky champion in Garen opens up Shyvana to build a little more damage-oriented and get some damage out with her abilities, and possibly help with the gangs here. So the picks are all locked in. We're probably going to see the switch arounds coming here soon. So, looking at those team compositions, we already scratched the surface on some of those team fight objectives, but in terms of early and mid-game, what would be more beneficial for those teams? What are they going to have to look out for?
I'm going to predict that Guitar Scare may need to have a lot of presence in the top lane early game. Headliner picked Garen, I think, as pretty much a direct counter pick to Renekton. The Silence, as Renekton is an ability-based champion, not necessarily ability power, he's obviously attack damage based, and his abilities scale off it, but if he can't get his abilities off, he can't get his crowd control down, he can't get his mobility down, and he most certainly cannot get his sustain down as well. Garen, on the other hand, very tanky throughout, regardless of abilities. His basic attacks can be fairly nasty, especially if that is combined with a follow-up decisive strike, providing silence as well.
Very, very true. So the picks are through. We are in the delay period. We have now sorted out the entire team compositions. Looking at the matchups here, of course, going to be very important throughout the game here for Autistklassen. The Orianna pick in the middle lane as those shockwaves are going to be elemental to having good team fights, especially when combined with the Sona Crescendo. It's going to go up against the Syndra. I'm not even going to start on how they both like to use balls, but who will have the who will have the advantage there in the mid lane, and what should they adjust their playstyle to in order to get a ideal situation out of that mid lane?
It's very simply a matter of positioning. If Syndra can position one of those Dark Spheres perfectly, land the follow-up stun with the Scatter the Weak, follow that up with Force of Will and then another Dark Sphere, that's incredibly high burst potential. It's only really burst though. It's not necessarily ridiculously strong if a jungler's coming in. If we see Mobius Pleth coming in on the Shyvana, then you're going to have to land a little bit more than a medium length. So it's about a second. So it's not going to give a mass amount of time for Mobius Pleth to come in unless he has that Dragon form available. Unless he has Dragon's Descent to jump in and get that damage down. Citrus DK, however, has that Shockwave, which is universally known as one of the best crowd control ultimates in the game, dragging multiple targets to a central location where they can be bursted down or held further if Cindyzeal's Varus can land a good Chain of Corruption as well. We also have yet more AoE from the Soda Crescendo and the Glacial Prison of Sejuani. Very, very heavy CC combination coming out from Autist team game.
Yeah, we have already mentioned it, but if we do see just one perfectly pulled off Shock Endo or Crush Wave or just Shockwave Crescendo combo, that can be so huge for Autistklassen here in this game. There are about 30 seconds remaining in the delay period, so we'll be getting into the game fairly soon. It is the EGL Summoners Cup number 12 quarter-final match between Autistklassen and HerLevelWas18. So whoever wins this will advance to the semifinals and at least secure themselves one of the prizes that we have. Of course, we have already talked about it. The first place prize is going to be 3,200 RP per player, plus a very exclusive Triumphant Rise skin that's only given out at Riot-sanctioned tournaments. Second place not too shabby as well, 2,400 RP per player, but still, first place is definitely something you want, even if just for the bragging rights.
Yes, indeed. I've come up with an amazing and totally not dumb-sounding name for the combo. I've got it. It is Chain of the Glacial Shockendo.
What was that about not strange sounding? It is the Shockendo that drags into the dust, really. This just sounds so silly.
You try and make those two ultimates sound reasonable.
I did, and I failed, so I went with Shockwave Crescendo. This is a perfectly reasonable thing to do. As we are in the loading screen, and the players are slowly loading into the game, and as always, we're going to take a look at level 1 possibilities and advantages here. During the early stages of the game before the minions spawn, what will happen on the map, and what will not happen on the map? What do you think?
Early crowd control isn't too substantial on either side. You would be sacrificing a lot. For example, if Guitar Scare wanted to start Arctic Assault for that percentage health damage and knockup, she would be losing a lot of early game jungle clear speed. We could see a Paulson start with the Ruthless Predator on Renekton. Not necessarily a bad start, it's actually quite common for Renektons to start with that. But on the other side, beyond the silence from Headliner, and the Aqua Prison coming out from the Coin Army of Roanoodle. That'll do. Roanoodle. If I say it multiple times, it sounds funny. The Aqua Prison coming out from him, then there's not a massive amount of early potential for crowd control, but there is definitely a lot of damage available from the Dark Spheres and the Mystic Shocks, along with sustained damage from Burnout if Mobius Pith can stay near the target.
Very, very true. So the game is on, ladies and gentlemen. Autistklassen versus HerLevelWas18 quarter-final match. EGL Summoners Cup number 12. The champions are moving on towards the lanes and possibly into their jungles. We'll see if we'll see some level 1 aggression here in this game. But as for now, it is time to see who will advance to the semifinals by picking up the win here in this game. And obviously, semifinals will guarantee you an RP prize. Well, we do actually see...
Yep, it's 800 and 1600 RP for 3rd and 4th place. Not quite as much as one might like from gaining one of the top scoring places, but definitely worth your time, I would say.
We do see both teams actually making aggressive moves here in the top side river. Both moving around in packs of 5, leaving one of them behind is HerLevelWas18, who has Roanoodle watch out. But Autistklassen, before having stood there in that enemy red banana brush, have moved away. And it does look like they're gonna take their own buffs, as HerLevelWas18 does the same. We do see a lot of pings going down on the map. So, loads of discussion going down. Look at all those pings.
Bit of a theme we have coming throughout this tournament, actually. We have seen a lot of early posturing for aggression, but no actual aggression.
That is very true. That is very true. We just saw it as well. They didn't even place any deep wards here. We do see a couple of wards of HerLevelWas18 in their own jungle, but none in the enemy jungle, even though Autistklassen was right there and could have placed a ward down, so they decided to not go for it. Instead, both junglers are gonna start with their respective red buffs, and as it stands, we do see a lane switch coming out here, as HerLevelWas18 sends their dual lane top to fight against a Pulson on Renekton, and likewise, Autistklassen with Varus and Sona going up against Garen. Quite interesting to see.
I'm very interested by that lane swap, actually, because Garen would have a very significant advantage over Renekton in the early game due to the fact that his sustain, it does not come from one of his abilities, it does come from his passive, which relies upon him taking non-champion damage for a period of time. Very interesting to see that they've done that, as Renekton is going to be more than happy to farm under his own tower, as he's also spamming recall animations because the recall animations are, of course, amazing.
It's pool party, yeah. Roanoodle actually taking a turret here, going quite low. And those lane switches, those 2v1 lanes, are certainly going to be something to watch out for, especially since they, if they go wrong, force the jungler to show up and hopefully try to defend that turret. And what do you think is their main objective here? Picking up an early turret or preventing that Renekton from getting too strong early on? I mean, in a way they do both, but they may choose to mostly leave that turret alone, leave it alive as long as possible, so they can keep a Poison under it for as long as possible as well.
It does look like aggression is the key part of this, and apparently I've just got a word from the admins saying that my layout of champions is wrong. No, I don't see anything wrong with that. We've actually seen Mobius Pith coming into the top lane as well. They are going for a straight up push down of this tower.
That is true. 3 people in the top lane. Aqua Prison comes out, attempted to land. We're gonna see if they're gonna go for a dive here, as a couple of turret hits are taken. And members of HerLevelWas18. We do see Sejuani, played by Guitar Scare, showing up in the top lane as well to hopefully help pull some of the aggression away, or at least share the damage taken, as on the mid lane we see a pretty straightforward coral skills used. But here we actually might see the dive of Poulsen goes down. First blood goes over to Shyvana, and the Ignite has actually been ticking away here into Guitar Scare, but not enough to take him down. He does pick up the health pot, but still, it's first blood for Shyvana, so it does look like the dual lane has worked out quite well here for HerLevelWas18.
Yep, that's going to be a lot of damage going down onto that top inner, and on around 5 minutes we may see a tower already down. In fact, this is going to be the first tower going down, and a significant gold lead going down to HerLevelWas18 in the early stages of this game.
They do pick up the first turret of the game, but it does look like the bottom outer will fall quite soon, as well, as it has gone quite low due to that constant 2v1 aggression. We do see Garen now backing away, as Shyvana is on her way to help hold this for just a little longer, but they will pick it up at some point. There's not really much Mobius Pyth can do here to prevent that from happening. Does go in quite deep, does do her best. But as soon as the next creep wave comes in, I think that turret will go down. So both turrets very early down, but of course, the bottom outer has more significance in terms of dragon control here. Guitar Scare actually hanging around that area now. Mobius Pyth going very low. They may be looking for a dive here. But here comes actually HerLevelWas18's duo lane. They sent them down to the bottom lane after they have picked up the turret, completed their objective in the top lane. And they are going to push back and let the turret live for a little bit longer.
A very interesting play, actually. I've just had a moment to think on how HerLevelWas18 started out this game, and it's definitely actually putting Headliner at an advantage, because that tower is down, which means if he wants to try and nuke down a Poulsen in the early stages, he can do so, because he's got to run all the way back to his inner tower.
The Aqua Prison lands right there, and we do see Sejuani coming in on the bottom lane. National going very, very low, but he does manage to Arcane Shift away back under his turret, so no pickup there, but they're now applying pressure to that turret, which is already quite low. Let's see if that's gonna happen right there. In the top lane, we do see the solo laners going at it now, as Mobius Pyth also shows up on the bottom lane. They do not want to lose this turret. Aqua Prison landing onto Cindy's Zeal. Not making too much use of it, though, other than keeping him away from the turret for just a little longer, as a piercing arrow lands onto Row Noodle, taking him pretty low. Yep.
Bomb looking around is fairly even in most cases, except in that AD carry role. We do see Cindy Zeal going 25 CS in advantage over Peanut. We also see Guitar Scare going on the middle lane.
The flash advance from Guitar Scare as the shockwave pulls Syndra back in. Has to flash away, but does manage to survive this one.
Very well timed flash right there. The Sejuani flash was also burned in the engagement, so that's actually very, very well played. That's an ultimate out of his lane opponent and a flash out of the opposing jungler. He did have to burn his own flash, so he's going to have to be a little bit more careful in the near future, but still nothing of massive concern.
That is very, very true. No of more damage going around on that turret, but they do not seem to be able to pick it up. It's just that little bit that's still missing. They're still going to push out those minion waves, hoping to get those final few auto attacks onto that turret so they can finally pick up their own turret. As we do see HerLevelWas18 having a slight 1,000 gold lead this early in the game, but as soon as that turret gets picked up, it will lessen.
We see Guitar Scare backing to his base to up items. You see the Spirit Stone and a couple of wards, always nice to have some vision around. Meanwhile, we saw Headliner make a little bit of a line into that jungle and steal away the wolf camp.
Yes, he did. So he's gonna make something out of that turret advantage that he has in the top lane, which gives him a little bit of control of the jungle as the final few auto attacks go down on the bottom inner turret here for HerLevelWas18, and that puts the gold back to about 200 or even 100. So looking at the farm, Autistklassen, despite giving up first blood, have been able to keep up and farm and even overtake their opponents mostly. That's going to do the advantage here as the tidal wave actually comes out as Mobius comes in. Chain of Corruption landing onto Ezreal, preventing him from going in. Dragon's Descent out of Mobius Pyth, trying to pull Barret's back into the fight, but they do not manage to do this. So no kills coming here. Guitar Scare now also showing up on the bottom lane as Stitch DK also comes in from the middle lane. It's a 4-people push here coming out of Autistklassen. The Shockwave pulls Mobius Pyth back in, but he manages to get away. Surrender now having shown up as well. Ignite goes down onto Stitchy DK. He does manage to use the barrier and save his life. Loads of summoners burned, loads of ultimates burned, loads of health bars burned, but no kills.
A very remarkable fight. No one fell there, as you quite rightly say.
Oh, Guitar Scare might actually do that as he is caught out trying to steal away the blue buff. Or at least hanging around in the blue buff area, placing a ward there. So they do manage to pick him up right there. It ends in a 1-for-0 after all.
In the meantime, Headliner pushing down this middle lane, and there's not really much that
actually meets Smoke Bomb and Zindy Seal here. Zindy Seal has to burn the barrier as Twixlaw picks up Smoke Bomb for the kill. Scratch that, it's a 2-for-0.
A very elongated fight. It does end in favour of HerLevelWas18, currently 3-for-0 in kills and stretching the gold lead back in the region of 1,000 gold 10 minutes into the game.
Very, very true. We did see a couple of very good pickups there in the bottom lane after a fight in which nobody fell, but then actually did. And that would be another historic moment. But swaying away from that, as you said, 3 kills to 0 in favor of HerLevelWas18 here. The gold lead goes back to 1,000, and they do seem to be getting the slight advantage here in this game. We'll see what they can make out of it and how they can carry that advantage from the early game into the middle and hopefully late game stages.
Yep, items coming out at this stage in the game. We see a completed Athene's Unholy Grail on Twixlol right there in the middle lane, Syndra. It's 2-0 with 87 CS, actually a slight disadvantage in the middle lane, but those 2 kills have allowed for a very early pickup of a very core item for Syndra. Looking across at her lane opponent, we see the Chalice of Harmony and double Doran's rings, but not quite a finished Grail as of yet. In the AD carry, we see a fairly standard setup, Ezreal trying to rush for that Trinity Force, as we actually see Autistklassen attempting at the dragon.
But they do back away after they see HerLevelWas18 moving in as well due to that blue ward that Sejuani placed earlier, giving up a life forward, but instead of just accepting that the enemies move away, HerLevelWas18 now start doing the dragon volley themselves as the Chain of Corruption comes down. There's a Guitar Scare, Shockwave pulling in 3 people actually, loads of damage going down. Smoke Bomb, the support actually picking up a kill for himself. Flash out of Peanut, trying to get after him. It's a double kill for Sona so far, and Peanut manages to get away after all. What a fight. They do give up the dragon, but they pick up 3 kills in return. Or did they actually get the dragon as well?
No, the dragon did go to HerLevelWas18, meaning that the gold is absolutely dead level. 12.5 minutes into the game, 3-for-3 on kills, 1-for-1 in towers, and the gold nigh on even, actually slightly extending in favour of Autistklassen.
Oh, I'm excited. This is going to be a good game, as it looks. Both teams very, very even in their team fights, very adept at playing those opportunities and making those plays and using those ultimates. We do see Autistklassen about to pick up the middle outer here. Swigwall comes in trying to prevent it, but it will go down there. Actually, is the Citadel ultimate used onto Guitar Scare, but the dissonance will help him get away. Mobius Pyth now trying to get onto Stitchy DK, but he will get away. So they do pick up a turret, but their own turret in the middle is quite low as well. So he might actually see HerLevelWas18 going for that. Trading turrets once more and probably bringing up the gold back to even once more. You can actually see a Paulson catching out Mobius Pyth here as he is doing his blue buff steal. He does manage to pull it through, and actually Headliner who picked that one up, but they are still in pursuit. Meanwhile, middle outer goes down after all. Headliner now being chased here by 3 members of Autistklassen, but he does manage to get away. He is already getting quite tanky this early on. So, a successful blue buff steal going through, and nothing in trade for it.
Yep, meanwhile in the bottom lane we see Pinad pinging away at that bottom tower with those bolts of arcane energy. He is going to slowly poke that down as most of the members of Autistklassen are pushing out that top outer tower. It's going to go down.
Get up. Bringing up their turret lead. 3-2. Gold lead is now at approximately 700. That's exactly what the turret has given them. Now, 4 members of Autistklassen still on the top lane, now dealing some damage onto the middle, on the top inner as well. As the Pulse actually goes through, and the Chain of Corruption comes out. Nice shockwave crescendo combo. That is what I was talking about. Headliner goes down, and there comes the Dragon Descent out of Shyvana. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Trixel actually managed to take down Guitar Scare, and they're still going at it with the push in the top lane. They did pick up the Garen. They did trade a Sichuani for it in the middle lane, but still 4 people against 2 up in the top lane as the Pulse moves in with a slice, stuns, and dices away. Scatter the Weak used to get them away from the turret, but they will pick it up in the end. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Syndra hard at work at the middle inner turret. Possibly going to be able to pick that one up as well. As HerLevelWas18 applying pressure to Autistklassen as they're moving away. They're running through a ward as well, so Syndra will know when to back away from this. And this game is really, really impressing.
Yes, indeed, we saw Pinad take out that bottom outer tower, meaning that all of the outer towers through this game are gone. That means that ward coverage over the river is going to become increasingly more important for the Dragons and Barons in the near future, after Baron spawning only 45 seconds ago.
That is true. But there's really not much of a lead for either team to actually go for Baron here this early in the game. It has spawned though, that is true. And we'll see if one of the teams manages to pull through and build up a lead that will stay and maybe enable them to go for some of the bigger objectives here in this game, such as Baron, such as inhibitors, and even a dragon or 2 in there as well.
As you were saying, that dragon has shown itself with its 2-minute respawn time. We have 4 members of Autistklassen actually posturing around that area. You're a little bit early for the fight, guys.
A little bit, yeah. Maybe they'll just, I don't know, prepare the area and then have a picnic until Dragon comes back up.
Picnic on the rift. That sounds very nice, you know, when there's not blood and gore and everything and dragons.
Actually, the rift is quite a nice place. Look at that. There's lots of trees and a nice little river. Somebody might cut down that brush. It's grown a little bit too high. Sichuani getting caught out here by the Scatter of the Weak, but the Crescendo immediately follows. This is a big fight, ladies and gentlemen, as Headliner spins to win, but does not manage to actually pick up a kill. So Autistklassen the only ones picking up a kill here in this engagement, as 5 people of them are still alive. Opposing now coming in, very high health. Scatter Weak is used to try to get him away. Piercing arrow, piercing Pinad, but not piercing away his life.
Yeah, but for a second I thought that the members of Autistklassen were going to go for the dragon again, but still another 40 seconds until it spawns. They seem to be very, very eager to take advantage of the slight lead they've gained for themselves. It's just over 1,000 gold. Twixlol has respawned and will hopefully head down that middle lane to try and quell any pushes that are going on at this stage.
And again, we saw a very, very beautiful combination of ultimates in that preceding fight. We did see the shockwave, we did see the crescendo, and we did also see the Sichuani ultimate. I have completely forgotten its name. Please help me out here.
Glacial Prison.
Glacial Prison, thank you very much. I hate to admit it, but I gotta do it. So now we do see HerLevelWas18 actually moving on towards that dragon as it respawns. Both teams at exactly the same spot with exactly the same objective in mind as soon as that dragon respawn timer runs out. And it does look like HerLevelWas18 will started off here. Of course, loads of ultimates used here by Autistklassen in the preceding fight, but the Shockwave, for example, is still back up, and we do see HerLevelWas18 pretty clamped right there. Oh, there comes the engagement. Headliner in the middle of Autistklassen, but the Shockwave pulls him back. He goes down before he can deal more damage with his spin to win. Spin to lose, apparently.
Itaska also smiting away that dragon. That was a very, very favourable fight for Autistklassen at that point. 1 kill and a dragon. That extends their golden lead to 2,500. 18 minutes and 57 seconds into the game.
That is very true. So we do see a slight lead building up here for Autistklassen after they have pulled off a very, very nice team fight after a very, very nice dragon steal. We're going to see if they are able to make something more out of that. So they have picked up the top inner turret already, possibly looking for the other inner turrets as well, or maybe to win a fight and pick up the top inhibitor turret. Loads of opportunities, loads of possibilities for them to go here. We'll see which one they will actually go for.
Yes, indeed. As DK takes a little bit of farm from the jungle, I thought it might be a good time to have a go over the gold at this point. After a very good start, Headliner is actually 1,000 gold behind Aprilson in that top lane. Renekton actually having a slight advantage as he has 1 kill and 1 assist up. In the jungle, we see over 1,000, this time in advantage of HerLevelWas18. We actually see Autistklassen trying to do a little bit of a steal here.
Oh, maybe his Pyth getting caught out here by Autistklassen. It has to use the Dragon's Descent to get away, but he does get away. And they do manage to get the steal, or did Shivan actually manage to smite it away? It does look like it, so the steal did not went through, but he had to burn his ultimate to get out of this. And now Autistklassen, 4 members on towards that middle inner turret. Mara's also there to join. And this is looking like another big fight will break out in just a few moments. Both teams are there, full in numbers. Scatter the Weak comes out, stuns a Polson, but nothing more is going to come from that. Lots of minions getting slain down to open up the path to the turret. Something's going to happen here. I smell a fight.
This would actually be a slight advantage for HerLevelWas18 at this point, as during the fight at Red Buff, Synthesiel did try to burn the Chain of Corruption to hold Mobius Python base in place, but the Dragon Descent managed to carry him away, just narrowly escaping it. There is actually an ultimate advantage at this point.
Oh, there's the Shockwave pulling it, roll noodle, and Mobius Pyth, the crescendo immediately follows, stunning Mobius Pyth, but he's just too tanky, but the engagement immediately follows. Mobius Pyth going very, very low. Polson picks him up here as Garen actually managed to pick himself up a double kill here. Man, and Peanut now deals some damage onto DK as he gets stunned by Scatter the Weak, has the arcane shift over the wall though, as the damage comes back onto him. Scatter the Weak again stunning Zindi Seal. And they do get away. 2 people down for each team. A very even fight, but the middle inner turret did go to Autistklassen. So they do still have the slight advantage here in this game, building up their lead even more. We do see Headliner actually still moving in, trying to look for something here. DK nicely throwing out those command dissonances to keep him away, and he does give up, goes into the Banner Rush, and recalls.
Indeed, more items will be coming out. We see over 1,000 gold on multiple people. We have got Peanut with that Trinity Force now. We have Home Guard Sorcerer Shoes and a Blasting Wand on Twix LoL. That may well be going towards everyone's favourite AP item, Ramadan's Death Cap. Both junglers do now have their Spirit of the Ancient Golems, and we also see Mobius Pyth with that Giant's Belt for a little added tankiness throughout these earlier fights. The top lane, we see Sunfire Capes on both, however we see differences as a Brutalizer is being held by Headliner and a Kindle Gem is being held by Aprilson.
So, lots of tanky items coming out from both top laners, as their main purpose in their teams is to tank. Very strong late game tanks. Loads of pings coming out of Autistklassen in that red side jungle area. Might be looking to make a move here. There are no wards. Yeah, even made sure by placing a pink ward they might be setting up a death brush here, and Mobius Pyth. Will the trap snap? No, it will not. He does move away. Autistklassen moves out of the brush and begins applying pressure to the middle lane once more.
Yes, indeed. Gold advantage apparently not considered enough to try and attempt a Baron at this point. They do have a good amount of vision, but pressure is going to be the order of the day. 40 seconds until the dragon respawns once again. Tower lead 5 for 3 in favor of Autistklassen, and 8 for 6 is currently the kills.
They are looking for the middle inhibitor turret here, as they are still pushing strong. All the fights we have seen in the past few minutes have been due to Autistklassen relentlessly pushing away at that mid lane, taking down turrets, and looking now to take down the inhibitor turret, and if the fight goes well enough, possibly even the inhibitor to dish out the first decisive lead. But Mobius Pyth, here comes the flash. Will he be using the Dragon's Descent here? Chain of Corruption comes down onto him. He did wait for too long. He's going very, very low as the Guitar Scare tries to take him down, but he does get scattered the weak away. He flashes over the wall, but still goes down. And meanwhile, Peanut managed to take down Varus, but is now taken down here by Smoke Bomb, actually. But not before taking down Varus. But it's still a 3 for 2 in favor of Autistklassen, and they are punching away at the inhibitor turret, as two very, very low team members of HerLevelWas18 have to back away to heal up at the fountain. They'll not be able to pick up the inhibitor, but the inhibitor turret will go down. And we do see Apolson actually going in onto Mobius Pyth, trying to bite some time here until the rest of his team manages to pick up the inhibitor, but that will not be possible. You do see Stitch DK turning the Russian around, as well as an Aqua Prison is attempted to stun him. Mobius Pyth actually going very, very low here. Gonna have to back away and heal up once more, but they do manage to defend the inhibitor from going down.
The scary point about that fight was the fact that Autistklassen actually got out of it with an advantage, and the fight was 4v5 for most of it. Apolson had actually gone to top to try and clear out some of the minions, was gesturing towards a pop towards the top inhibitor. The dragon has respawned, but they are deciding that it's not the best idea to go for it. So, HerLevelWas18 have decided, you're not going for it? Alright then, we'll go for it.
Yep, they do go for it, they do pick it up, just as Renekton has recall in his wonderful recall animation, which I just wanted to point out to the viewers here. And that's gonna bring a little bit of gold into their pockets. But still, the gold lead has extended between those two teams. It is now at approximately 3,500 at this point, 3,600. But it's still not that big, considering that we are almost 27 minutes into this game. So, while there is a goal advantage, it is not big enough to really warrant, for example, a Baron here, or for a death push to end the game. There have certainly been games that have been much less close.
Yes, indeed. We do see some more items come out. The next slew of items coming through. We see Zhonya's Hourglass coming out from Sitchi DK. We see the Spirit Visage picked up by Apolson's Renekton. Very good pickup considering the amount of magic damage that can be coming out from the team of HerLevelWas18. We also see them posturing for yet another push on this middle lane.
That is true, they are still not done. The inhibitor, of course, is now exposed, and they have won that last fight. They want to go again. They want to win this fight too, and this time they want to pick up the inhibitor. Guitar Scare actually in the front lines, looking to make something happen here. Is quarreling here with Mobius Pyth. The rest of Autistklassen deals damage on the inhibitor, but here Headliner goes in, immediately goes down there. There comes the Dragon's Descent out of Mobius Pyth as a tidal wave comes back in. But look at that, the shockwave actually didn't hit that many people. No, it wasn't actually used, but the crescendo that was used. The Impulsion going quite low. Stitchy DK actually managing to pick up Shyvana here, as Twixlow is getting zoned away by Stitchy DK. Scatters the weak him away, but the inhibitor goes down. Aqua Prison attempted, but does not land. 2 kills so far here for Autistklassen. Will they be going for more? It does not look like it, as Peanut actually moves in, doing a lot of damage. There comes a True Shot Barrage, but it does not hit Stitchy DK. Instead, he gets taken down by him. Nicely played. And it's a 3 for nothing, as they do pick up the inhibitor and retreat in full numbers.
Very well played fight by Autistklassen. They extended their gold lead to over 5,000. 28 minutes into the game, and both objectives are not yet being postured over. We see the dragon going down recently. Nobody seems to really be bothered about the Baron at this stage. We see the occasional ward being placed within his pit, but Baron may be getting a little bit lonely. Who knows?
Well, you usually do tend to see parties at Baron when there's loads of money involved. There is a 5,000 gold lead here for Autistklassen, but I'm not sure if that'll be enough to buy drinks for 5 champions and Baron. So I think we'll have to postpone the Baron party for now. We'll see when they go for it. It would actually be possible for them to go for it as the middle inhibitor is down. We have seen that gun down during the last big fight in HerLevelWas18's base. But they do still want to go down that middle lane. They really like that middle lane, don't they?
Yes, they do. We do see yet more items coming through. We see a Yomo's Ghostblade, which is a very interesting item to have on Headliner. The movement speed steroid on the active cannot be put down, however. The attack speed from it maybe not so amazing on a Garen, but an extra movement speed steroid to stack with Decisive Strike is, as I previously said,
here we do see the Baron party getting started off here by Autistklassen, and HerLevelWas18. They're setting up a death brush here, but nobody's there. They don't have any wards. They don't know what's going on. So that Baron is going to get picked up here by Autistklassen, and HerLevelWas18 still waiting in that brush for a pickup. Oh, the shockwave actually nicely landed. Row Noodle and Headliner going down. Here comes the Glacial Prison and the Crescendo directly on top. Tidal Wave coming out though. Get Archgear going down. But here's the Chain of Corruption landing onto Peanut out of Zindy's Seal. He does get picked up. It's a double kill so far. Meanwhile, Apolsa manages to pick up Headliner in a 1v1 fight. Smoke Bomb picks up his rival Nami support as Twixlaw is the last surviving member, and it does look like Autistklassen will be able to pick this game up here. Will it be an ace? No, Twixlaw manages to get back to the fountain. But the respawn timers are over 20 seconds. Super minions are moving in. So after 30 minutes, almost 31 minutes, or it's going to be 31 minutes actually, we do see the Nexus getting attacked and probably going down here. So there's really not much Twixlaw can do. Autistklassen picks up the win versus HerLevelWas18 with a kill lead of 18-9 and a gold lead of 49.4 to 39.8 and a turret lead of 8-3. GGWP. Autistklassen advances to the semifinals of the EGL Summoners Cup number 12.
Very well done by Autistklassen, making great use of their teamfight-oriented composition. We saw the crescendos, we saw the shockwaves, we saw the glacial prisons, all amazing CC ultimates combining to make this ball of utter I was going to say decimation, but that doesn't sound right. But we'll go with ball of destruction, the death ball. Maybe.
A death ball. We did see the ultimate combination coming in so strong, and we do actually have a slight delay here as we're waiting for the stats, but we don't really need the stats to break down the game. So, what went wrong for HerLevelWas18 and what went right for Autistklassen?
The team composition from Autistklassen was the defining feature that won them this game. It was a lot of stacking damage and crowd control, and as a lot of the fights took place in the jungle or in the dragon pits or nearby, there was very little margin for error as people were able to be funneled into small areas.
Oh, good.
Meaning that it was fairly easy to land.
I'm just getting the message. The PvP.net server is currently unavailable. I do
Perfect
hope
timing for the server to mess up.
that this does not mean that we'll actually will not be able to watch the next game. It was going to be the EGL Summoners Cup number 12 semifinal. I do hope that we do not have to postpone anything even more.
It would be a little bit difficult, perhaps.
Yeah. Anyway, we are going to go into a break, but after that on this channel, we'll be doing a streamer switch. Sona and Gregus will be bringing you the semi-finals. Meanwhile, over on the other channel, it will be me and HerLevelWas18, a fellow colorcaster, bringing you the other semi-final in the EGL Summoners Cup number 12. As for you, Althazar, I think that's it for you today.
Oh yes, I'm signing off. I'm going to relax, and I may actually start counting how many times you say that is very true.
That is very true.
But
in return, I could count how often you say yes, indeed.
It's possible. I suppose every caster does have their little ticks
Yes.
to be removed over time. I don't think you actually told the viewers what the name of the channel you are streaming on with Mr. HerLevelWas18 for the second semi-final.
That's true. I'm hoping to get a link into the chat quite soon. It is going to be Twitch TV/censored gaming, so if you want to watch the semi-final, one of the semi-finals go over there. The other semi-final will be held here. We'll hopefully get the team names up for it fairly soon as well. As for now, we'll be going into a quick break and do a streamer switch. I'll hopefully see you over on Censored Gaming. Goodbye.